So you know, if I am sitting in front of this pretty much position, you know this video is going to be really, really important. And to a point where, you know, I take a break from all the sports takes that I do, the hockey and content and uniform content, to taking a break from the food reviews, and we just sit down and talk about all the things that we know about my way of speaking to the general loving world of the info superhighway of our world of Gen X and our days of clubbing back in the day, our days of, you know, going out, doing the things that we love to do, doing the things that we planned on doing, and doing the things that we found out from a friend, from a friend, from a friend, from a landline to a landline, from fake news to fake news, to fake locations just to throw everybody off. Trust me, that is why I went out and said numerous times, on whether it was the Gen Z Millennial War videos that we did, to the club life that we did. That's why we at Gen X always say, and I wouldn't say we always, but I think we can be in the word of agreement, we had the best cinematic movie of our lives. We did so many things we can't remember. We do a lot of things we can't even blurt out to the public. Sometimes it's the Vegas thing. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. To some of the people that I've known in my life, there are some things that they have done we will still never know until their grave. I will never know half the things that a lot of my people that I've ever associated with. I will never know. And I think this video, when we do another club life right now for you guys, is just not necessarily another more collab, but what were we doing? Oh, we did a lot of different things. But in a sense, let's just keep it simple. Let's do the old acronym, synonym, whatever, of the KISS syndrome. Keep it simple, stupid. Something of that sort. So this video right here will be Club Life version 8, and we're just going to simply just take a step back, relax, and remember some of the things that we did, didn't do, didn't go to, and all the things that we planned out. And quite honestly, there are still a lot of things that I know deep down that I know there's a lot of people that are pretty much walking with a lot of excess skeletons and bad decisions inside their closet and not afraid to show it. Right there, I can show you that thing. That's a subscribe button. Hit that if you want to definitely be alerted, as we are so close to 1,000 subs. We can do this, and you definitely like a lot of the Gen X stuff. Definitely like the stuff like the four comedians do with Slim Sherry, and what Kelly Mano does, and what Gina Scott Williams does. They do their thing, I do mine. It's not a sexy way, but doggummit, we're gonna do it. Roll that beautiful intro, and let's have some fun. Let's jump right into this, and as always, I showed you that subscribe buttons. We're so close to 1,000, but the Gen Z, Millennials, and Gen X, we always had our world, but every single generation has had its own way of doing things. And I will continue to say, Gen X, we had the best time ever, the best cinematic movie ever, the best. I mean, we probably did so many things that would probably, anybody in the Gen X world could probably take the top 5 things they ever did on weekend vibes, whether it's clubbing, whether it's going out in the back road and having some sort of a party. Remember the Jason Aldean song about going to the back road? Watch out for the boys in blue. Well, yep, you get the point. We could probably put the greatest things we ever did, and it's a list a mile long. We could never, ever, unless you're a significant human, find the top 5 things you ever did. So with this video, I can simply straight up point out that sometimes maybe the clubs were not enough. Especially if you were a clubber like myself back in the day, and you literally, all you wanted to do, and this goes for a lot of different people. If you were a clubber, you were going to club, you were going to dance. You could be somebody of the high end, the high profiled, iconic figures where you were a group of girls or a handful of guys, and you weren't going there to dance. You were going there to stand in a corner, hold your drinks, whether it was a 40 or whether it was a Red Bull and vodka or whether it was a $12 freaking Long Island iced tea, and run the joint. Significantly in your mind, you thought you did. Then again, those people got on us clubbers because they thought they ran the club. We were, okay, they ran the club. We ran the dance floor. So, first of all, there's one thing we can talk about. There were those people on the outside who could not stand the dancers. There were us that were the dancers. We didn't have hate for anybody. We were going there, and I've said numerous times on other versions of this series, the number one goal to whether it was going to a club, going to a party, going to a dance floor, going to a rave, there was number one goal. It wasn't just to dance. The number one goal, have fun. And some people just did not think that was not even close to what they want. I'm sorry, when you go to when you go into a club, I mean, it's one thing to say, "Oh, I'm dressing up, I'm not dancing." It's another thing where we are built to dress, go out on the floor, do our stuff, do our routines, do just goof off on the floor. But then it was something to do, and it was something to get down to. And then one time we talked about opening the circle. The entertainment started. To some people, that was not what they wanted to see. It was simply they owned the club, they wanted to do and see what they wanted to see. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. But seeing other people take that attention from them, then it was a problem. But you see, there's a lot of people like us. We didn't have any problems. We were just doing our own thing. Then you see you see a group of people, whether they were drunken stupors or not, just walk into your circle, stand there for 5 seconds, and nothing happens to them for maybe a couple of reasons. One, people knew them and they couldn't touch them. Or two, they were just drunken stupors, and if you went after them, they just become even more obnoxious, and then your night is semi-ruined either way. But for the dancers and the clubbers, they did try their best not to absolutely, they tried their best to try to avoid any sort of trouble whatsoever. So in a way, for the dancers, this actually goes everywhere around the world. If you were a dancer, whether a dancer, a clubber, a raver, your goal was to go out and dance, release some stress and have some fun, but there's always people that ruined it for you. Whether it was the bullies, whether it was the high class people, or whether it was a group of girls that just didn't seem like or just think like, nope, we're never going to touch them, we're just going to take their space. And then, quite honestly, if you think about it, this has happened numerous times in my past. You were so recognized, and I think this is for everywhere, not just in America, but all over the world if you went to a club. If you were famous, not necessarily famous, just known to go out to the floor and have fun, and you were with a group of people, because you can't do it by yourself. There's no way. If you did it by yourself, you're a loner, and everyone would point the fingers at you. You had to be with a crew. If people knew who you were, they respected you, and they gave you your space. And you know what me and a handful of my friends did? We returned the favor and let them join in. And that's what made nights a heck of a lot more fun. Then you get the drunken stupors, and then you get the high-class people that obviously want to ruin it for everybody. So, in a way, club life was tough, but it was also fun as heck. We realized there was people out there trying to ruin it for everybody. Doesn't matter if it's a small-town club, or it doesn't matter if it's that big, gigantic one in Vegas where you're buying a $50 beer. And I know, I have a friend of mine who did that in this area. God bless him, and he's amazing. But yeah, if it's that, I can't remember the name of that club in Vegas, but whatever. Everybody always had to find a certain way to kind of be like a halfback in football. You kind of have to avoid getting tackled. You have to avoid the trouble. You have to avoid all the negativity, whether it was you trying to do a step, doing some funk moves, doing some pop, doing a little bit of routine step, and then you obviously don't want to bump into anybody. So so in a way, us, the clubbers and the dancers, in a way, had to have some sort of a relationship kind of like with the outside world in a way of being like, we don't want to hurt you. We don't want to step on your toes. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that and everything. And then when those people figured out what you did, the respect kind of slowly kind of gradually rose. And you made more friends that way. It was kind of a fun thing, and you walked away, and even if you didn't get a phone number that night, you still walked away and you made some friends that night, and it didn't turn out to, and you actually made out that night, and it was pretty cool. The bottom line is, yes, if you're going by yourself like I did so many times, you had to fend for yourself. And it was tough being on your own. Trust me, I knew full well hand. I've traveled enough because where I originally come from, there's nowhere to go. So in my old days, I had to go 45 minutes, sometimes both ways, because you had to go out. And sometimes in the perspective that I had, that was the only way for me to socialize. I couldn't do it back home because there were still bullies growing up and still didn't like me back home. Luckily enough, some of those have reached out now that I've gotten older, and we all get along and we laugh about it now. But the travel, because like I said before, I said this in an earlier video, some places you could go to the big cities, go down a street and you can find 10 clubs or 10 bars. You go to the small towns, you're lucky you find 1, 2, or 3 and kind of a couple fingers left over. Every place is different. Every atmosphere is different. Some places will play nothing but hip hop. Some places are ravers. Some places will play nothing but house music, and majority of the people can only stand so much. Now, I've talked many times about the certain old school ways that we grew up in 80s and even 90s clubs. They played a stretch for 15, 20 minutes of hip hop, cut it off, play 20 minutes of house, go right back to hip hop, and then your couple slow dances every now and then. I did a video on that as well. That was the life. And they end the night with 1 or 2 slow songs, and they play that song closing time. You know what it is. That was the way we had to do it. And then that was also the kind of thing that we all had to represent, as whether or not you were a dancer, just a wallflower, just somebody that you just went with one other person. You were like, I can't stay home. Let's go to the bar. I can't stay home. Let's go to the club and let's just dance and just get it out. And then you just happen to see the dancers and the breakers, and it lifted your spirits up for a little bit. And you know who those people are. That might have been you. It might have been somebody else. You might know a couple people like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The job was to go out and have fun. Go out, release some stress, dance. I make a couple dance steps. Who cares if you don't know how to do half the stuff that I did? I couldn't do windmills. I was more of a hip hop stepper. I was more of a hip hop and more of a funk person. I have friends that are more of the b-boys and of the breakers and did that. I did a little bit of that stuff, but I wasn't that big deal. I did not worry about that at all. The bottom line was me going to a place, slowly trying to get incorporated and have a blast. So in this video, it's basically, who was around you? Did you avoid trouble? And did you have fun? Did you make people feel better? Did you make people smile? Did you make people laugh? When you went out and did a song, most of the time when I did a song, if I didn't know how to technically put a thing into my head, I would just step and dance, sing, and just lip sync the lyrics of a song. And sometimes people do that because that's part of the routine, that's part of the atmosphere, that's part of the entertainment process. And some of those people, that was the bottom line. Make people happy, make people smile, make people laugh, and let them leave, regardless of where they went afterwards, with a smile on their face. And in a way, as I shut this one down, that was kind of the things that I did when I was younger in the 90s, that I started dancing and started going out and clubbing, whether it was home, whether it was at Penn State, or whether it was elsewhere. That was one of my things, is not try to see everybody. You can't be friends with everybody. That's just a cardinal rule. You can only do so much. But if you made a positive influence to a certain amount of people, doesn't have to be everybody, then you can go home, whether you got a phone number or not. You can leave with a positive mindset and say, you know what, this turned out to be a good night. I did a couple steps, made a couple friends, I just chilled. The atmosphere was great, the darkness was great, the lights were great, the music was good, the house set they played was great. I said that a lot in the 90s. Did that a lot in a little bit of the early of the 2000s as well. And I ask for you, what was the type of night you had when you went out, and did you want to have a positive outlook when whatever you did? Did you try to stay out of trouble? Was having fun? And don't just sit there and say, well, I just wanted to go out, go dance for a little, have a drink and go home. Did you really want to have a positive outlook when you wanted to relieve a little bit of stress? Because everything we do outside of the club and whatever you did was your own business. But when you went out, was one of your jobs just to have a positive outlook, have fun, and enjoy the atmosphere, see a couple people, say hi, have a couple conversations. That's what us, of dancers and b-boys and breakers, and even those that we were and those that represented Gen X, that's what we were up to. That's all we wanted to do. And we say that innocently, but we say that also with an iron fist because we wore our hearts on our sleeve and we just came out and did what we did. What do you remember most when you went out? Throw a comment in, chuckle if you like the video, and enjoy the times that you had. Reminisce a little bit. This is Club Life Volume 8, Part 8. There will be more coming, but trust me, answer this to yourself. Were you a positive influence? Whatever you were back then. Did you make people happy? Were you a positive influence to others, regardless of what you did? Sometimes you need a night just like those.